Hi, welcome to Mentor, Empower, Thrive, the impact for a community within a community, a look at Family Forward. I'm Lisa Shangari, and I'm part of the Healthcare Businesswomen's Association Women in Healthcare Give Back, and I'm joined by my colleagues Jane Whirling and Carm Glover today. Let's review the agenda of what we're going to discuss. So today we'll give an introduction to the Women in Healthcare Give Back and our partnership with Women Deliver. Then we'll dive into a panel discussion with Erica Schinelli, Sarah Hart, and Tony Memel from Family Forward. And then we'll wrap up our discussion with some closing remarks. Please note, the views and opinions today are expressed as part of this presentation are solely those of the speakers and do not express the views or opinions of the speaker's employer, HBA, or Women Deliver. Women in Healthcare Give Back. We work to develop bold and authentic women leaders using giving back to our global communities and purpose-driven programming as a pathway to both grow and develop social impact. Women in Healthcare give back together, grow together, and lift the world together. And I'm excited to overview with you Women Deliver. We're excited with our 2022 Give Back program and in partnership with this global nonprofit, Women Deliver. Women Deliver hosts the world's biggest conference on gender equality and are seen as a global advisor and thought leader in this space. With a voice at the United Nations and with many organizations spanning the public and private sectors. Women Deliver leads a variety of programs to engage youth in making change in their countries, to elevate sustainable development goals, and to amplify the overall global movement for gender equality. Their signature triennial conference in 2019 saw over 8,000 attendees across 169 countries, including decision makers from civil societies, governments, the private sector, and international agencies, alongside advocates, activists, and journalists, to identify solutions and drive change. There were also 200,000 participants online participating in satellite events around the globe. The images you see on the screen are from this important global event. As part of the participation for the next Women Deliver Global Conference in 2023, Women in Healthcare Give Back is proud to be able to support the amazing work of Women Deliver by building satellite events like the one today to amplify the movement for gender equality for our 2022 program. Now I'd like to introduce our panelists today. Erica Schinelli from Family Forward, Sarah Hart, and Tony Memel. Erica leverages more than 20 years of non-for-profit leadership experience and service as she leads efforts to strengthen and empower low-income working families at Family Forward. Erica came to Family Forward in December of 2021, bringing strong interpersonal and communication skills and focused energy and passion for making a difference in the northwest suburbs of Chicago. She believes the important work of Family Forward has a ripple effect across neighborhoods as families learn and grow and become self-sufficient, contributing to the well-being of the greater community at large. Sarah joined Family Forward in May of 2018. Her work experience includes Special Olympics, adult day services for families with dementia, and hospital-based day rehabilitation. She holds a master's degree in social service administration, and she has volunteered at several social service organizations in Arlington Heights, Illinois. Tony became a volunteer mentor for Family Forward in 2018. She mentored one client over the course of her 2 years in the program and is currently mentoring another client. Tony is a retired high school teacher, spending 34 years mostly teaching consumer education classes. She is passionate about being a mentor for Family Forward because she has witnessed firsthand the success of the program, and she thinks it is important that we empower women to be successful on their own. I'd like to welcome you all today. So Erica, can you tell us a little bit about Family Forward?
Of course, Lisa. First of all, thank you so much for this opportunity to have us here. We're so grateful to be able to spread the word about Family Forward and what we do. We're a nonprofit social service organization based in the northwest suburbs of Chicago, Illinois, with a mission to strengthen low-income working families to achieve financial stability and independence. And we do that through rental assistance, mentoring, and other support services, with the ultimate goal not being home ownership or anything like that, but to be able to pay market rate rent on their own and to be able to pay their bills all on their own. The key to our program is our volunteer mentors. They work with them over the course of 2 years on a weekly basis in collaboration with our professionally trained case managers as well. So we're really excited about this program and hope that it can bring financial stability to more people in our community.
Great. So HBA is partnering with Women Deliver for this global project. Women Deliver champions gender equality and health and rights of girls and women. How does FamilyForward relate to this mission of Women Deliver?
Well, the reality is that most of the participants in our program right now are single mothers. So we're working pretty much exclusively right now with women. Some of these women come into our program, they're in financial distress as a result of bad luck. And some of them are in financial distress as a result of bad decision-making somewhere along the way. But those reasons don't really matter, because at FamilyForward, we believe that everybody is capable of making change. So like Erica said, the first part of our program is rent assistance. We pay a portion of the family's rent directly to their landlord each month for up to 2 years. Now, this rent subsidy keeps the family housed. It immediately reduces any risk of displacement or eviction, so the family can stay put and they are housed. This then gives the parent some room in her brain, so to speak, to think about what else she's going to tackle next. The women who enter our program are very motivated. They all have goals. They just need a little financial assistance and a little breathing room to figure out how they're going to meet those goals. And that's where the mentors come in, to take those big goals and break them down into bite-sized pieces over time so the women can move forward towards financial stability.
One thing I did forget to mention previously, another key component to our program is that in order to qualify to be in our 2-year program, there has to be an adult living in the household that works full time. So like Sarah said, you know, our program participants are working full time and still trying to get to the point where they can, you know, have some breathing room, because their expenses and income are just not correlating to be able to be financially stable.
So how does being a woman leader impact that family unit?
Well, as a mentor and all of us, we believe that we are role models for our daughters, but also for our sons, because if our sons see us as strong and capable and empowered leaders, this becomes the norm. They expect this. So we feel that all women must be able to support themselves and their children if need be. And as a high school teacher with many, many decades of experience, I always told my high school girls, you have to be able to support yourself. You have to be educationally sound, so that if you get into a situation that is abusive, you can walk out of that situation and know that you're going to be okay. You're not trapped in that situation. And we think that if both people in the relationship are empowered and the leaders, if the woman is a leader, that makes for a better relationship and both partners are strong and capable.
Thank you. What are ways to advocate and improve gender equality in the work?
You know, sometimes the volunteer mentors are able to do something as simple as give the participant the language that she needs to perhaps ask her supervisor for an increase in pay, or perhaps, you know, work out some sort of conflict in the workplace, to give her that language, but also to remind her that, yes, it's okay for you to advocate for yourself in the workplace. People don't need to walk all over you just because you're a woman. I give you an example. We had a single mom in our program who thought that her low-wage job was kind of the end of the road for her because she didn't have a college degree. She thought that was it for her. And her volunteer mentor said, "What are you talking about? You're a fantastic employee. You're conscientious, you think on your feet, you jump in whenever you need." And they pointed out to her that she's a great worker with a lot of skills. I think too often we as women are conditioned to see our limitations instead of seeing our strengths. So in this example, the woman was allowed to see that, yes, she is a great worker, regardless of the education that appears on her resume. And with the support and encouragement of her mentors, she applied for a whole host of jobs. And what do you know? She landed a higher paying job that had a lot more upward mobility for her in the long run.
I think at work, a lot of times, all of us, if we do something wrong or something bad, we hear from our boss. But if we do something good, we don't get that reinforcement or those kudos. So what we do, like Sarah said, is we empower our clients to get their voice, to raise their voice. And this in turn gives them confidence. And these are all key factors in empowering these women to speak up for themselves and to go up in jobs or money as a part of their job.
Yeah, having that voice, having that confidence are all skills that they can then leverage in any kind of like walk of life, right? Those are, you know, jobs, social events, things like that, that they can really use those tools going forward. A purpose of our HBA Women in Healthcare Give Back group is to develop bold, authentic women leaders. Can you explain how you mentor women to advocate for themselves?
No, in so many cases, we've seen women be accepted into our program, begin our program, and they think of themselves as victims because something has happened to them that's created this extreme financial need. But gradually over time, as they make progress on their financial goals and as they, have the support and encouragement of their mentors, they start to think of themselves as what they are: head of household, in charge, taking charge of their children's lives and of their own lives. And in that way, they have the power to advocate for themselves. Let me give you a few examples. We've had women who over time in our program have gained the courage to take their child's father to court to get child support, for example. We had a woman who finally had room in her brain and in her schedule to get involved at her child's PTA. We had another mom who became her child's Girl Scout troop leader, which is something, you would think is just normal for a mom to do, but 2 years prior, she had been in crisis and she didn't have the time or attention for that. And it's these examples, like getting involved at your child's school or in your child's extracurriculars. It's that advocacy that's exiting the workplace and the household and is going out into the community and reaching other people as well.
One thing real quick, I just want to touch on what Sarah said. Those are huge measures of success. You can't measure it in the number standpoint, like, oh, well, how much money did they improve, increase their income by, or how much did their debt go down? Forget about those specific statistics. It's this type of stories and, types of success that we consider, really important for our clients. It's those soft skills and the building of their self-confidence to be able to advocate for themselves, which is a huge measure of success for us.
I think it all goes back again to self-confidence and their self-worth, which we work on at every single mentor meeting with our clients. We had a client who negotiated a $2 an hour raise for herself. And we also had a client who she was afraid to say no to people. And she was really being beaten down by all of these things that were being piled on her. And she went to a group that was supposed to be behind her, but she was afraid to say no. So we kept talking to her about this. It's okay to say no. Think of yourself. And she did. She went to a meeting one week with this group and she told them no. And she came back to us and said, her exact words, "I felt so empowered by being able to say no." And again, we looked at that as a huge win. And we had another client who was working 2 jobs and really running back and forth, and she was exhausted. And so she took the job that she had trained for, and she negotiated with her boss for more hours and for health insurance, and she got it. So she was able to quit that other job. So again, I think it's the verbal support. It's listening for clues where our clients are strong, and then we get behind that and we help give them that self-confidence that they were lacking.
That's amazing. Really great. Any advice on how to establish a sponsor-mentor relationship and maintain it?
I love this question because in all of my 30-some years of teaching and now with the volunteer things I do, I am huge on developing relationships. To me, you can accomplish so much when you establish those relationships, but it doesn't happen right away. We can't go into our first meeting with our clients and say, okay, we're going to work on the budget today and we're going to get your budget shipshape. We can't do that. We have to develop that relationship, that rapport, and learn about them in their personal lives and develop. It's a two-way street. They learn about us, we learn about them. So it takes a lot of conversations for us to all get to that same point where we can establish that relationship and keep it going. We had, I worked with a client and she had a teenage daughter, and we developed a relationship with the teenage daughter also. So it's not just with the client, we learn about the family, and hopefully with the teenage daughter, we develop the relationship and the rapport to encourage her to get out of this cycle of being poor and not being able to support yourself.
No, at Family Forward, we take pride in having a customized approach to each family. We don't just take any old volunteer and throw them together with any old single mom. We consider the needs and circumstances of every participant in our program, and then we consider the style of each volunteer and we match them accordingly. We have some people who enter our program who we know from the beginning are going to need more of a gentle touch. And then we also have people entering our program who are going to benefit from a more straightforward approach. They need to be told it like it is, and they can handle it, and they need to be pushed. So we consider the style of every mentor and the needs of each family when we're making those matches.
I think at this time too, real quick, I just wanted to say thank you to Tony. As a mentor in our program, we are so grateful. People like you really allow us to be able to fulfill our mission. I mean, she's a volunteer meeting with participants on a weekly basis, and it's a huge commitment, but what they get out of it is just amazing. And Tony can attest to the fact she's still in communication with some of her previous clients, and that's how she's maintaining that relationship with them. So it's not like she just works with them for 2 years and then forgets about them. She's really invested in them. It's that tough love, but then also the empathy that they need as well. So our mentors wear many hats, and they provide a support system that they might not have otherwise. So Tony, thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. I love doing it. And I have to say, it's not just that hour of week. My co-mentor and I have said, we'll wake up in the middle of the night and we start thinking about our client because we're very involved with them and we want them to succeed and we want them to be successful. So, but thank you. I really love what I'm doing.
Tony, I'm hoping you can tell a little bit more about the mother-daughter mentoring that you did and how your relationship with the daughter has continued.
When I was a teacher, I always put an inspirational quote on my board, and it was kind of cute because the kids who love these quotes, they would go with their phones and take a picture of it and then put it on their Facebook, their status. And so I thought, you know what, with this teenage girl, I'm used to working with teenagers, I'm going to ask her and see if it's okay if I do the same thing with her. So I did, and she said she would love it. So a couple times a week, I would find an inspirational quote and I would text it to her. And sometimes she would give me a heart in return. And sometimes, you know, she would say, thanks, this really hit where I'm at. So that's kind of how I'm maintaining that relationship, kind of in a light way, but yet something that I always found successful. And I think it's nice for her when she gets that too.
Yeah. Again, the relationship was started with the mother, and it extended to the family, and that family unit is now thriving. And I think that just is an attest to the program, is setting the family up for success to continue and break cycles of poverty or lack of education. And I commend Family Forward for this. So I'm going to go into my last question. Can you describe how financial stability impacts the advancement of women empowerment and independence?
Sure. So every family comes into our program with their own goals, and they work their own plan with their mentors. In a lot of cases, it's working on your household budget, figuring out how you're going to pay down your debt, figuring out how you're going to increase your savings, whatever it is, making gradual progress towards these financial goals. And the mentors help the family apply strategy to their finances, strategy maybe to their career goals or to their time management or even to their parenting. And once a woman feels strategic in her life, that really gives her power. So our rent subsidy helps stabilize housing, which then allows financial progress to take place. But this kind of strategy gives women courage in so many ways. Courage to set healthy boundaries in the workplace or in personal relationships. Courage to be herself and get out from under what was holding her back all along. The mentors show up, right? They are a constant force every week for 2 years. Some people in our program have suffered from a real poverty of love in their life. Other people have had a poverty of community in their life. But with Family Forward, they've got 2 people who show up every week, who are cheerleaders, who don't pass judgment, and who only want them to succeed.
And I think when a female client becomes financially stable, she becomes more independent, and she knows she doesn't have to rely on someone else, but it's kind of like a circle. When her confidence increases, then her empowerment increases, and she becomes more financially independent, and then this increases the confidence even more. So it's like a big circle, what we see, particularly as the 2 years go on. We feel sometimes like, oh, we didn't make any progress today, but all of a sudden we make huge progress. And a lot of times it's that confidence, and they see that they have choices and they have options now.
Thank you. Thank you so much for answering all my questions. I'm going to actually open it up to my colleagues now to ask some questions.
Well, I'd love to ask a question. Ladies, thank you so much for sharing. I really have loved hearing all about Family Forward and what you ladies are doing to continue to encourage and empower women. What I'm interested in hearing about is the biggest challenge that you're faced with today. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, sure. I think that as a nonprofit organization, of course, one of our biggest challenges is funding. You know, obviously, we need money to be able to fulfill our mission. So for us, fundraising, we really are trying to diversify the ways that we get funds, whether it's from individuals, corporations, grants, foundations, but even, you know, fundraising events and that sort of thing. So we're really trying to do as much as we can to engage a variety of people. And we can do that through volunteer opportunity, you know, whether it's through our board of directors or even our advisory board too. So all those are challenges that we're really trying to accomplish as we move forward.
For me, the way I see it, the biggest challenge facing our organization right now is the rising cost of rent. And we all know that no matter where you live in the world, housing is the first step in achieving any of your other goals. And without stable housing, nothing else is really possible. And around here, we're seeing landlords raise rent really rapidly, and it's getting harder and harder for working parents, particularly single income homes, to be able to pay their rent and all their other expenses.
which is why we need to raise more money.
Thank you.
I had a question. So first of all, I just wanted to thank you again for sharing the Family Forward story and your personal stories with us today. I think all of you are so inspirational. And what I love is that you are all women leaders helping to empower other women to become leaders in their own lives. And so my question is, what advice do you have for women who want to get involved and become leaders in their communities?
Well, I think that the first thing as a woman, or, and you want to get more involved, find an organization with a mission or cause that you're truly passionate about. There's so many out there, obviously, tons of nonprofits out there competing for funds and volunteers and that sort of thing. So find something you're passionate about and go after it. You're going to get out of it what you put into it. So if you just want to write a check, great, that's how you can get involved. But if you want to get your hands dirty, there's ways to do that as well. You just have to do the research. Another thing I would suggest too, when you're doing your research on these different organizations, look at their finances. Pay attention to where they're getting their money from. Is that something that you're okay with? Consider that. Look at their percentage of expenses. How much of their expenses are going towards administration versus directly towards the program itself. So those are all factors to consider. But again, I just encourage you to, step up. And if you want to do something, there's plenty of opportunity out there for sure.
So many women who I have met through Family Forward are real dynamos. They are making it happen. They've made significant changes to their life, and they're really improving circumstances for themselves and for their children. But a lot of times they think, oh, I'm a nobody because I'm from a modest background. So my advice to women who want to be leaders is don't apologize for where you come from or for what you think or for who you are. Don't be apologetic. Speak your voice. And when you have good ideas, share them, because the world needs more good ideas.
Great advice. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much. And with that, I am going to ask my colleague Carm to share our final slide with you. So how can you get involved? Great question to wrap up. Right now, the HBA Women in Healthcare Give Back Affinity Group, you can join our affinity group by either using the QR code on the left, the top left one, or using that bit.ly link. For anyone that's a non-HBA member, you can still follow us and join our LinkedIn group on the second QR code on the left. And, we challenge everyone to amplify our collective impact via social media, share, like, recommend. And if you'd like to get in contact with Family Forward, I have Erica's contact information there, as well as their website. That QR code on the right-hand side is a link to their website. They're also on Instagram and Facebook at FamForward. So please follow and stay in touch with this wonderful organization. And I'd just like to thank everyone again today for a wonderful session.
Thank you so much.